Welcome to the Pillow Fright podcast. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Emma.
And we are your three besties keeping you up to date on all that the horror genre has to offer. Today, we are continuing our streak of broadcast horror that we've been talking about all month.
TM.
TM. Nobody else has ever invented that ever.
We invented it.
And
you invented it. It's ours now. Claimed.
We are going to talk about a little film called The Cleansing Hour on Shudder. And before we do that, though, have you guys seen any recent horror movies? What's your favorite scary movie? No, I'm just kidding.
I recently saw Immaculate and The First Omen. Did you guys catch those?
That's like a perfect double feature, but no, not yet.
And it fits today, too, because I've heard it's nothing but nuns.
It does fit.
I cannot wait for you guys to see them because you're going to go in, and while both movies are absolutely great, they're real close to the same thing.
Really?
They are stories, beats, very, very, very similar. So I'm excited that both of them exist because they're both really cool, but it's interesting that they both got made and they're like twin movies.
I heard The First Omen is really surprisingly good.
I don't want to pit them against each other, but I kind of liked Immaculate better. But I did think The First Omen was like one of the most beautifully shot movies I've seen in years.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's exciting.
Well, from a person who has not, I haven't watched trailers. I try not to watch trailers unless someone's like, you have to watch a trailer. And I'm like, but from what I can tell from an outsider's perspective is like The First Omen is more like nuns, and then Immaculate's like, yeah, I'll fuck some nuns.
See,
is that maybe that's just the vibe I'm getting?
I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't want to spoil it because these are such new movies. But it's interesting that they both exist because they have so much in common with each other.
Now seems to be just like the nun time, the time of nuns.
Well, horror goes through, I don't know, seasons or like themes where something is popular. Mm-hmm. Like when Hellfest came out, there was also Haunt came out, and not Hell. There was another one that was literally about a horror fest, but they all came out around the same time. And then we have werewolf movies come out at the same time, ghost movies come out at the same time. So it's not only is it like cyclical of like, this is the time, and now we move into vampires, now we move into werewolves, now we move into ghosts and possessions or zombies. But it also has something to do with like the times. So maybe now people are like, maybe religion is a fear, right now.
I mean, that makes sense too, based on the times.
I mean,
that being said, hey, we watched a movie this week.
We did.
We did watch a movie. The Cleansing Hour.
Available
Shudder.
on Shudder.
On Shudder. Jeez.
It's a Shudder original. It's produced by them.
I think they bought the distribution rights right away.
My bad.
And it was 2021, right? Or
2019.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A little less than 5 years ago.
So we will get into the non-spoilers first because we don't like spoilers. So we will disclaim you when we talk about spoilers. We'll do graphics and make it a really big deal because I appreciate that because I hate when people talk about spoilers without really
a lot of pressure on
disclosing.
The editor.
No, I'm kidding. We won't. But we'll get into non-spoilers, and then we will let you know when we're talking about spoilers.
So if you have AMC Plus or if you have Shudder, then please go watch this movie because it's like for a 2019 film, and I didn't really hear about it until I saw it on Shudder, but I was like, oh, like the production value is great. It definitely did not come across to me as an indie at all. So I think that this is definitely something to go check out.
Yeah, I found out about it when I started becoming obsessed with YouTube, and then when I got a paid subscription, I just fell down a rabbit hole of just falling asleep to YouTube videos, and then I discovered it was What Culture Horror, and they do a lot of those lists, the top 10 whatevers, and I think they were talking about just movies that you haven't seen that might, something like that, and it came up, and I thought, this actually looks really interesting. Have I never heard of this? And I watched it, and I had a different opinion than I did this time around, but I liked it, when I watched it the first time around. And
I liked it both times.
I didn't dislike it, but it's an interesting watching it twice. And
I mean, the first time I watched it was during the pandemic, and I was like sewing masks that I was giving to friends and stuff. So I was like half watching it, and I really liked it. This time I actually sat down and watched it with no distractions, and I mean, I actually kind of disagree with what Kay said. I felt that it was, you could tell it was an indie because it was obviously shot overseas. Like, I think they shot in
Romania.
Yeah, so it was something that I immediately was like, oh, this was shot on a soundstage overseas, and it was very contained. Like, you could tell they only had one set, so they only had the money for one set. One of the things I really enjoyed about it was I thought that they did the most practical effects that they could with the budget that they had. Like, you could tell that they were just trying to go ham on that, and I really appreciated that. And, you know, I really felt like it tied in with our month of broadcast horror, as it's, you know, some guys who were failed filmmakers who found a niche of broadcasting exorcisms and, you know, trying to get this like big following on whatever their platform was.
Right.
Which is, I mean, their platform is basically, and this isn't a spoiler issue, their platform was almost like a combination between Instagram and TikTok, even though TikTok wasn't, in 2019, TikTok hadn't taken off to the level that it is now. But if you watch TikTok lives and you watch Instagram lives, which Instagram lives actually weren't a big thing in 2019, but it's the hearts. It's like tapping the hearts, tapping the hearts, tapping the hearts.
Like Facebook Live, maybe.
Yeah, where you can like tap multiple times. But any social media that has a live aspect, it takes from that versus like a YouTube video, where you like once. And so it was something. It's more audience interactive, and reading a comment section. Kind of the same with Twitch streaming, where you can you talk about the comments while they're happening. You can send like support. You can click links. You can buy things from them, which was all part of it. So it did feel very, even though they never like said the name of their platform, you knew it. It was familiar.
Yeah. And, you know, so these guys have basically made their own little business where, you know, Father Max is the star. He's the guy in front of the camera, and his buddy Drew is running everything behind the scenes, from like the live edit to packing orders for their prayer cloths that they're selling. And
he's putting all the links up. He's literally running the show. And,
you know, right away you get this dissonance between these guys who are, is this spoilery? I don't know.
No, it's you're talking about like the two characters are very different in this, someone who's in front of the camera versus someone who's behind the camera.
And you get the sense that they've been friends for a long time, and that they're one of them, Drew, played by Kyle Gallner, is like putting up with some shit from, you know, this sort of egotistical, narcissistic front of the camera guy, Max.
Which is a stereotypical relationship, but not all stereotypes. Stereotypes exist for a reason. So that's because, you know, it's a lot of work being behind the scenes, and it's a lot of work that people don't see all the time. But once we started watching things that are more found footage, like I think that's been something that's brought in the limelight more, is like how much work it is to create anything.
Oh yeah, it's so much work,
and that more people are in. People make things themselves, and now they're like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's the hardest part, when you hear people saying like content creation's so easy. No, like I admire anybody who actually does it full time, and hopefully, you know, we'll experience that at some point. But
this is our third episode, and I'm so tired.
It is, and it's just anybody who creates something on their own, especially like they're the guys behind and in front of the camera. Like, it is so hard,
and it's why so many big names have full teams behind them, even though you only know the one name. But a lot of people who are like YouTube famous, who are Twitch famous, who are TikTok famous, they have people who are doing their editing. They have people who are doing all that behind this, who are setting up their shots, who are setting up their lighting, who are funneling ideas. Yes, that's the face that we know, but the work is normal. Quite often it's done by a lot of people, and so much more respect to the people who do it themselves. But also, once you get high enough where you can pay a team, you do it, because that's only going to take your work even farther. And you know what hard work it is, so you can appreciate that team.
Right.
But so this movie, it's like basically started with these two guys from the ground up, and it's still, I think that they have a sound guy and they have a makeup effects guy.
Right.
But that's their team.
Just the basic.
And the pyrotechnics, the effects guy.
Oh, yeah.
Was he different?
Yeah. There's the sound guy. There's the younger guy who's on sound.
The big guy who's doing the pyrotechnics. I thought he was doing more of the effects stuff too.
But well, like when I say effects, I don't mean like they have makeup who is separate, but he is doing pyrotechnics. He's doing all the stuff that you all the camera tricks. He's doing all that.
And then there's Riley, who was the cousin of Tommy, the bigger guy, the PA.
And Lane, who's the makeup artist.
Lane is Lane?
Lane.
That's Drew's girlfriend. Was she the makap artist?
She was.
Yeah, she was the makeup artist.
Oh, wow. I must have missed that.
She was quitting to go do something else.
She had to go. She got a job or she had an opportunity or something like that.
And then they bring on a PA to help out, quote unquote, because, you know.
Stereotypical. Like, at first you think, oh, she's
film
just
student.
Blonde, like, mindless, but, you know.
Great outfits, though.
Oh, great
I kind of want to wear her clothes.
Great
They bring them up, don't they? They're like, oh, you're circa Gwen 20.
Gwen Stefani.
Like Gwen Stefani circa 2011 or something like that.
She's like 8-year old.
Yeah.
But very stereotypical.
Let's talk about Drew. Or not Drew, Max.
I was about to talk about Drew.
Max to me seemed like such a fuckboy. Like, the man bun, he looks like he's like really into like Asian culture, like has swords, and
it's like they created. He was like the perfect archetype of a fuckboy. And but I just like both times I watched it, I kept trying to place who does he remind me of, because it's driving me crazy because I know I'm not thinking of him. I know he's obviously an actor. But
I was like he was in that scandalous it was like The Boy Next Door or something like that with Jennifer Lopez.
Really?
Yeah,
he was
not,
like that's definitely not where I recognize him from.
That movie is.
Guys,
I'm sorry.
Can we watch that for one of our slumber parties?
Oh my god, it's so scary. I don't even know if I've ever finished it because it's like one of those like erotic thrillers that kind of makes you embarrassed.
Oh, is it really that bad? I get embarrassed so easily lately. Like I can't even watch people kiss on screen in front of other people because I'm like, oh I don't know why.
No, it's like, you know when like erotic thrillers go bad and they start like killing their pets and like doing it's like the things he does are so like invasive. I'm just like, I can't watch this.
Logan Marshall Green. That's who I was thinking of. That he looks like.
He does look like.
I can see that.
He's a beautiful, beautiful man, though. I will say.
I think it's that. Yeah.
He's my type.
There is a genre of just as like everybody. There's genres of people, but he fits into that genre.
Yes, he's that, perfect for the role. Like, I think he's great.
Like that guy you're kind of attracted to, but he also looks like he could be anybody. But at the same time, like you've seen him in a bar.
He's the sexy priest.
You know he's gonna give you chlamydia.
Yes, I know. You know,
there's a chance. Like, you look at him and you're just like, there's something about you that's a little dirty, and I just you're taking a chance. Like there's gonna be like antibiotics after you fuck this guy. I don't know.
Like if you give him attention, it's like, oh, maybe he is interested. Oh, maybe he does like me.
I could
12
fix
hours
him.
later. I can fix him. I can. All of a sudden I turned into a But can I talk about Drew really quick? Can I just mention?
Really, you're not going to do really quick.
No, I'm not. But I'm going to save it.
We've mentioned him in other podcasts. How much you love him.
I am a Kyle Gallner stan for life. I love him so much and everything he does. I would watch him literally in anything except for the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. But I think I love him. He has so much charisma, and he's one of my favorite actors in horror.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie that he's been in?
I really like him in Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say
Jennifer's
too.
Body. Yeah,
I was like, give me that emo kid.
And in Scream, and I will say, I got really loud. Even in Scream 5, just the tiny little snippet of a character that he had. There's something about that man that no matter what he does, he could be on screen for 30 seconds and he gives it 110%. Like he gives it his all. And I thought he was great in this movie. I thought he was amazing. Like he was my favorite part of this whole movie.
Well, so two things. First, Jennifer's Body.
Yep.
When he had auditioned for like the role of the Chip, and he didn't get it because it went to Johnny. What's his face?
Yeah.
So they're like, "Hey, you want to be Colin?" And he's like, "Sure." And he got to like pick out his wardrobe and like all of his piercings. Like that character is 110% like him. Number two, you talk about how great he is in this movie. A week before shooting, he had an emergency appendix surgery.
No.
Yeah, like they did not know. I think they were like, I'm gonna know if I can go shoot this movie 48 hours before.
Oh my God.
And so they
in another country.
So they were like holding out for him, like, please, like, make it, and he
I wonder
did,
who
but
would have played it.
And it's not like it's a movie that's not. There's a lot of physicality in this movie,
Well,
so just having someone that's just recovered from a major surgery is
Yeah, you
really
can't do
crazy.
that.
and he did a lot of his own stunts and stuff
Yeah.
after really just had, like, it was like a week and a half prior that he had an appendix surgery. And so, I mean, I think that goes to show how much he puts into a film.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty incredible.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Wow.
a lot of his work, you think of most recently, so there's, Smile. That was a big one. That was one of the major studios
yeah.
ones
Oh,
that he
I
was
hated
in.
that one, but I love him.
He was great in it. You said Scream. One of the movies that he recently did that I like. So I have a bad habit of I'll put a new movie on, and I need to only do it with old movies. I'll put a new movie on while I'm doing something. Like you mentioned you were making masks the first time you watched this, and I was like, well, I'm cleaning or something. It was The Passenger. And then I kept looking up and being like, oh crap, it's good. I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this later. And I have such a bad habit of just putting on something for noise, because I cannot function if there's not noise. And then being like, shoot, this is so good. I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Like that, him being the lead.
And that's what I was gonna say is I would love to see him be the lead in more movies. And I know in the past few years, I think he did Dinner in America and a few others. But they're still indie films. I'd love to see is Smile 2, is he gonna be the lead in it? I hope so.
I hope so. I mean, if it follows something along the lines of other sequels where it's the last person infected,
I hope
he finally
so.
gets the chance.
I didn't really like Smile 1, but I would love to see a movie with him as the lead.
Yeah.
Another thing I really loved about Kyle Gallner's performance is how well he worked with his the chemistry he had with Lane.
Yes.
I thought that character was really well done, and what's her name, Alexis something?
No, I just know her as not Allison Williams.
She looks just like her.
She looks just like her. Alex something. I know.
I thought the chemistry that they had was great.
I thought they were great.
Well, and also as Hollywood couples who, it's that whole thing of you meet people at work. And so I believe that they met on set and that they hired her to be a makeup artist. I don't know their 100% backstory, but the way that they're talking and they're supportive, it's that's the on-set relationship that you want, because in real life not everyone who's a couple can work together.
Right.
But I was and he's just oh, I'm so happy you get an opportunity. Oh, but I don't get to see you at work every day. I'm
Right.
gonna miss you.
They're very supportive of each other, and you don't see that a lot. And they were a very believable couple.
And then he had a different chemistry with Max entirely.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's still a relationship because they're longtime friends who working on something.
Well, yeah, and as a viewer, you think, how can he put up with this shit? Why does he hang out with him? But then, but knowing, when you know somebody for that long, it's it just becomes, you become immune to that kind of behavior. So it's just it's just there. Because, it's not a spoiler, but at one point he shoves him at some point, off, and he's just okay, bye. He's just really casual.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you deal with the things, and you have somebody else on the outside being you don't have to deal with this. But that's so the actual relationships in the film felt very, very real.
Yeah.
On a film that is not so heightens, but the relationships are real, which I think is a really nice way to bring the audience in.
Well, something I thought was really interesting is that the writer-director, he comes from the unscripted world. He was an editor on major shows for TMZ and E and all of that. So he knows what it's like to work with these sort of personalities. So I think writing it, he did a really good job at hitting that as a mark,
Oh, I love that.
Is it an algorithm for reality TV people being Satan?
Yeah, the narcissism of being an on-camera talent for when you're not really an actor and you're not, you're just being yourself.
You're just, a heightened version of yourself, but suddenly you're just the celebrity because of that. I don't know, it's interesting to me.
And, I was listening to some interviews he did where he talked about how a lot of these ghost hunting shows and such are really made in the edit, because obviously they're not capturing ghosts every single time, and they're not hearing noises. All of that is done in post, and putting something together that's not real, but it's entertaining. And I thought that was really interesting that he talked about. And also he made this in 2016. He did a short film, and it killed festivals. Like, it went to like Stygius and Fright Fest and all of that. So that's how we got funding to do the feature.
I had no idea it was a short film at first. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's a long short film, and it has the possessed girl is Heather Morris from Glee.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea that it was a short film. Were there any characters?
It's a lot different as far as like they build relationships that aren't as there as much. It's interesting to me that he chose someone to be the possessed girl who was a dancer.
Yeah.
And then in this one, there's still that physicality there of your possessed person that I thought was interesting. I would say for me, one of the flaws was like, I don't really feel like it was explained very well how a possession happened in this movie. And
yeah. See, I feel like everything I have to say is going to be in spoiler territory, but I agree. So do you want to just kind of dive into the spoilers? Should we, So spoiler starts now. All right, spoilers.
So the very first, it opens on one of these broadcasts because this fits into our theme of broadcast horror, but in a more modern variation, because the first movie that we talked about was a 1970s broadcast. The second movie is 1990s, and this is the 2000s. This is now, with a platform that is very similar to social media platforms that we currently use. So it opens up on an exorcism. And if, so right when you watch the movie, you're like, okay, I'm just watching an exorcism. And then you find out, no, you're actually watching the show.
It reminded me of the opening of the Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Is that what that subtitle is? Devil Made Me Do It? Or am I making that up? Okay. Yeah, so you find out it was literally all smoke and mirrors. He's doing this exorcist, and then all of a sudden you see somebody on the side like pressing the buttons for the smoke machine.
Yeah, Tommy.
Get it. Good old Tommy.
The effects guy.
Tommy, I feel like the effects guy is always a Tommy. It's like always ends with a Y. You got Tommy or Jimmy. Hey
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Tommy.
Yeah. I need the smoke machine up a little, like up at 10%.
Yo, Tommy, give me some smoke machine over there.
Yeah. But Tommy does a great job.
I love Tommy.
Tommy must have gotten his start in haunted houses. That's what I'm assuming.
Yes.
I think Tommy got his start at a local haunted house as a teen and got built up into the big leagues with this live broadcast.
I feel like the really sweet guy, the boom Mike, the friend of Drew's. I forgot his name.
The guy who loves ecstasy.
Yes, the guy.
The drug. the
drug
say
guy.
no to drugs, kids.
The
guy. Poor
yes.
guy.
I know.
So that's Chris. And the actor's name is Chris too.
Yes, he's the boom operator, right? I think so. Yeah, the limited crew was him, Tommy, and then Riley, who we said was the PA,
who got brought in at the end.
Yes.
So the big episode was her first episode.
I just want to say, because this was like right in the beginning, and I made notes. Like, I love how most of my notes are like, so the first time I watched it, the thing about these streaming movies or anything that takes place like online or anything in a live, like, what's the movie that just came out? Like not Cam, but it was, the live stream. Anything with Deadstream. There was Deadstream, things like that. It's so distracting because you want to look at all the comments that people are writing, but you want to pay attention to the movie. So the first time I paid attention to the movie, this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to the comments.
Well, fun fact about the comments, the director invited like 20 of his friends over and got them real drunk. And then played scenes from the movie, and they had like a live Google Doc, and he just was like, write whatever. So it's like
that makes me
that's so cool.
Happy because I kept writing down like my favorites as we went on, and now that you said that, it makes this 10 times better. Because a couple standouts were, I'd fuck him in an LA minute. Why are there no bitches in this episode? Better than Netflix any day. And then so MAGA. Oh, and then the classic, just went from 5 to midnight.
Oh, wow.
Those were just a few key favorites just in the beginning.
Yeah, he's like, thank the depravity of my friends for all of those comments.
Your friends are amazing, and I'd like to party with them any day. That's actually my idea of a party, is just doing a live stream of a movie and just writing comments of it.
I mean, that's a really clever way to do it versus coming up with them yourself.
No, and I love that because that format didn't exist years ago, so it's a relatively new format, and I love that because there's going to be something hidden in there. There's going to be some like little Easter egg or something in there, and I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of gems.
There's a lot in this movie too.
And then you have like thinking of movies where they do stuff like that. Like one of the not older, but like a movie that kind of did that before it was a thing would be like Fear.com.
Yes,
that classic.
Yeah.
We just bought it on DVD yesterday.
You spent money on a DVD of that? I love that.
You gotta buy physical media.
That makes me so happy.
Which is actually funny because in Cleansing Hour, she's like, you don't stream in 4K.
Oh yeah. He's streaming 4K. And that was like an insult, wasn't that?
Yeah.
Her like dig was streaming
like
4K.
He's like, let me show you the ropes, kid, and she like knew more than he's like, you can get the fuck out.
It's actually that's not called a snake. What is she
4K.
called? I can't remember anyway.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. And he's just like, okay.
He's like, I call it a snake. It looks like a snake.
I love the intro. I love Father Max's intro, how he's on that like rotating platform. He's
oh my god.
The prayer of God blesses you. And he's just like rotating. It's that dramatic music.
But these shows exist. Like we were talking about like ghost adventures and all that stuff. So I mean, Zach I know, but I always want to call him Zach Brannigan. Zach Bagans set the standard for ghost hunters that has been mimicked in so many movies and TV shows, and like, from Supernatural's Ghost Watchers and like, or what's it called? I don't know.
Ghost Watchers, I think.
But no, that's not right.
Or a ghost
chasers. Ghost chasers. But like that level of like, I'm this guy and I do this. We're gonna hunt a ghost.
And that's like, exactly how they talk all the time.
So that's a standard now. Yeah. And so you have like, I'm Father Max and I'm gonna chase out your demons.
With the button, just like the little chest hair, like I'm Father Max.
But it's funny because then we get our first peek at who Father Max really is when he gets to the bar. Yeah. And he gets like
karaoke.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, well, if I were there, what would I have done?
Oh no, there's a part like when I was watching this, I was like, I am the Drew to Alyssa's Father Max.
Yes, you are. And don't worry about it. I'm just Chris being like, drugs. Want to see a magic trick?
No, I would say you're kind of the lane. Like you're always like, Emma, don't put up with all this shit.
What are you doing? Stop.
Yeah, you're always like the voice of reason. You're just like,
I can be both. I can be night and day.
But I that was one of my thoughts watching it. I was just
that
like,
a real?
Yes, I was like, oh god, I've been in this moment in this bar with Alyssa.
Yeah, they recognize me as a priest all the time.
Fair.
No, fair. That actually is a very fair thought.
Also, fun fact, Kyle Gallner really loves karaoke. He met his wife at Dimples. Was that what the place was called?
Dimples! I have a tape of me. A tape? No, it was a DVD of me singing at Dimples. I wonder if Kyle has one too.
I'm sure he does.
Kyle, let's switch Dimples DVDs.
And my husband ran into him once at Dimples, so I feel like he was a regular.
I miss Dimples. I wonder if he sang with Belding. Anyway.
And okay.
Anyway,
just like
back on track.
Sorry.
We're back on track.
No, not a.
But yeah, so at the bar we really start to see who Father Max is when he gets these girls, and he takes one home and is making pornos and being a creep,
and that's the first sight gag we get where he sees like she starts going down on him, the girl, like one of the girls that was
with the sheet over it, as always happens in movies.
And then and then all of a sudden,
you gotta love that they're gonna keep going with everyone wears a sheet when they're walking around, and when you're having sex, you keep everything covered. That's just a thing.
No. So her black hair all of a sudden turns to gray. And you think, oh, what's happening? So that's his first apparition he sees.
First jump scare.
The first jump scare. Ghost gouged eyes out. You're like, what the fuck? Oh, he started to see shit. Freaks out. And that's when you know something's about to go down.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Drew and Lane in their apartment, and he's packing all it's like Max is out there having a fuck fest, and then Drew is packing all the orders of all their merch, and the funny thing to me is that he gets a package from his dad, and right away, it's these things, these AR goggles they're called Bright Eyes, and I was like, oh, that's gonna come back. Like that's a Chekhov's AR
I didn't
goggle.
even notice that. Chekhov's AR goggle.
Yeah, and that was something right away. I was like, oh, well, we're gonna see that come back later.
Yeah,
And that's when they're talking about she
got the zombie movie with Jared Leto.
With
imagine
with
going
Jared
from fucking Father Max to Jared Leto. It's just like a heightened, horrible version of the same thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Now, was that before?
Imagine if Jared Leto got possessed by a fucking demon.
He probably
is
already
possessed
is.
by a fucking demon.
When
Anyway,
he runs his cult in the woods, yeah, Jared Leto is possessed by a demon, if not working with one. That's also why he doesn't age.
Just zoom in on my face. Yeah. I'm like,
whatever demon Jared Leto sold his soul to not age, the Kanye deal, or not the I'm sorry, the Keanu Reeves deal and the Jared Leto deal.
Yes.
To be honest, demon, hit me up. I'll meet you at a crossroads because I'm into
I
it.
will say at this point, when you turn into your late 30s, something happens, something changes inside of you. So anybody's like 20 listening to this,
it's like
half of you.
A demon named Juvederm.
Juvederm. I summon the Restylane demon.
And the Botox Christ.
But yeah, call me. I'm into it.
Anyway, so
but I think that it's where we first get the he's not doing this for you. You want to make a career, you want to make a life, you want to provide, and Father Max is using it for clout.
Yes.
Right. And she sees that. And is that the scene where they talk about as well about we're going to go to not Bali, but
no, that's later.
That's later.
That's later.
I thought they discussed earlier that
no, it's about they're saving for a honeymoon, and that's the deal that she.
Yeah.
They're saving for the wedding, and then I like that moment of there's two parts to when he says oh, I'm really happy for you, and then he's like, it really sucks to lose you, and it's not just it really sucks to lose you to work with you, but it's also it really sucks to lose you for the show. Mm-hmm, for the show for him is his life. He and her career and them together is hers, and then Father Max is himself. So it's three different people, and their ambitions and their goals are very, very clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's also Drew from he's trying to talk to Max hey, what if we do ghost hunting? What if we do this? How do we expand? Because I think him and Max have similar goals where they want to blow up and act like they don't know nobody. But I think one of them is clout and the other is financial, and they're starting to butt heads there.
Yeah,
Max wants to get verified.
Yes,
and
that's his goal.
Just like Late Night with the Devil wanted to beat Carson.
Wow, there's so many parallels.
Yep. But you have the person who's thinking about the big picture, kind of like Gus was thinking about, oh God, what's this doing to him? Versus, and then Drew is thinking about well, what's this doing to the show? We've plateaued. We need to grow. And Max is just thinking about what can I do to be famous, to get verified, to beat Carson. It's that kind of it's that different aspect of it of and in the end, this is what are you willing to do to get famous?
Right. Literally, will you literally sell your soul to the devil?
Yeah.
Kind of mentality. Is that when he says we need to up the ante, and he knows the drag queen, or he knows somebody
Scarlett Von Cock.
Scarlett. Wait, what was Scarlett
Von Cock.
Von
Cock.
He knows her from Drag Bingo.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, Drag Bingo. They probably went. My mom was probably there when he went.
It's an LA
my
thing.
mom loves Drag Bingo.
Burlesque Bingo, Drag Bingo. There's just a different types of bingo.
We forgot to mention too. We skipped ahead, but Chris, the boom operator, after that night out, because they go back to work the next day, and so the drag performer is supposed to be the possessed person that day, and Chris is he has the sweats. He's sick.
That's not skipped ahead. That's after.
Is it?
Yeah. The drag
they show him at the
well, because he's sick at first, and then they show the possessed person, and then you're like, oh, let's put two and two together, kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess it's all around. But Chris throwing up doesn't happen until after the drag performer is already.
That happens after. That happens actually right after, I think.
Yeah, because Max is too interested to find out about everything that's focusing on him and showing off his newest sex tape.
Oh, yeah, he is. Hey, Drew, look at this. Look at this.
And then he's like, oh, Drew doesn't want to look at it? All right, Chris, look at it. And it's while he's rewatching it, and it's kind of just
which may actually be more important than we think.
Chekhov's sex tape.
Chekhov's sex tape.
But yeah, poor Chris Schwasty, still messed up and already seeing things, which is like the fact that the demons are in the world that are plotting from the get.
And something else that we skipped that turns out to be important is like Drew is compiling all of these old books into like a demon dictionary.
Yes.
So that like they can like do names and make up shit on the spot and like denounce the demons to send them back to hell.
The Devil's Database. I was going to say, is that I'm
the
sure
Devil's
it's a real
Database.
Thing,
but online you can pull up things. There is Delirium's Realm, which is demonology, list of demons, devils, monsters, and evil spirits, and they actually have it listed by like the different religions in the different regions. So I was like, well, this is something that I'm going to rabbit hole, and that seems cool. Then there's hellhorror.com, which is an A to Z demon name list and descriptions. And also the Devil's Database is devilsriverconservatory.org, which might be something entirely. Which might just be about a river. But either way.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with demonology and the occult. And
someone should make a new baby name book.
Yeah, I know. Well, funny story. When I was thinking of baby names, I actually did look into the demon list, the goddess demon list. Anyway, I'm a witch. There is a demonology, like there is an index of names. So I thought that was really fascinating to me because I was like, is the Devil's Database a real? Like, is that a legit thing? Or I mean, because I know a lot of movies don't want to fuck with that because that could be really scary.
Well, we had Beleth is the demon from the very opening, and then we've had
they had a little shout out to Paimon from
Hail
Hereditary.
Paimon. Yep.
Hail
Sup Paimon.
So I think there is a
Sup, bro.
my boy
Paimon.
you use these real names in it, and it whether it is going to bring up something and curse your film, or maybe it'll help, because there are people that think both ways. And we talked the first episode about like, what if it is the opposite, about maybe the demons are actually there to help, and the gods and the angels, kind of like that TV show Has Been Hotel, which is like the flip of where like the demons are the good characters and the angels are villains. We were talking in the first episode about the vice versa, where it's interesting to see, because we see so much about like demon bad, God good, angels good, and then we're starting to see more shows. And so Has Been Hotel, which is like an animated comedy with that like religious horror fun vibes. It's very much just very playful. It's a musical, like, and it's that. People are sent to hell because they sin, but also nowadays, who isn't a sinner? And then the angels are actually like super murderous crazies. So we're starting to see more and more of that.
So like, I think as far as that goes, like this movie still plays into that like Reagan era, like satanic panic propaganda. And I think something else this movie suffers from a little bit is like, and a lot, I mean, not just this movie, every exorcism movie after The Exorcist, like Exorcist is the gold standard. This showed us
the exorcism movie.
Yes, it showed us what an exorcism could be, but it's kind of a bummer that we've never moved on from that cinematically. And, it's like, we get it, like, she's gonna have fucked up skin and talking two voices, and I would love to see a filmmaker with a fresh take on what an exorcism should be. Because Hurricane Billy did it right the first time, so why are we just repeating and repeating and repeating?
Right. And I mean, I especially coming from like makeup, like where I was looking at what they were doing for this, and what because the contacts are one of my like biggest pet peeves as a makeup artist, especially as a makeup artist who fucking loves zombie movies. Like, being a person who, like, I love zombie movies, I watch them all the time, and it's the contacts where I'll completely check out if it's the white with the black in the eye. And like, I know they're cheap and I know that they're safer because you can see, versus the contacts that like other zombie
sclera or whatever.
Yeah, or like white out contacts, which look more like a dead eye, which I do love in some like possession movies where you're talking like Autopsy of
Jane Doe,
which like she's another, she looks great, and like the eyes and all that. But with a possession movie, I don't mind it. Like that's what those contacts are for, is, or like, but so this one had that, but it didn't look costumey. It looked like they did a heightened version where like small eye pinhole. So it almost looks maniacal.
I love those contacts because, yeah, like you were saying, there's something about eyes that always get me too, and I love me a good demon eye contact because I saw that with Evil Dead Rise too. Like there's something about those eyes, just like the little tiny pinholes.
But like that is like the sclera. It's almost like because the person has been shrunk to being like in the back of the mind, and so like it's kind of shown through the eyes. That they're not human anymore, and that the human is like way in the back there.
Oh, I love that.
So when she's possessed, which seemed to be the demon's plan all along, it's why I had to get rid of, which I think, they had to get rid of the drag performer because the drag performer didn't mean anything to not in the world, but in their world.
Right.
And
they
Lane,
needed to get through.
Yes. Lane is important.
And that's
to both of them.
Yeah. I don't know if that's something to bring up later now, but that's something that I saw with the exorcism. It almost seemed like it was viral. Like the way that, like, it's like you caught it kind of like with Chris, with his symptoms. And then like it just felt very viral, especially towards the end.
Well, I think Chris was already, Chris was an easy mark because Chris was under the influence.
I mean, I don't know if I felt like they really explained like how the demon entered. Was it through Chris first? Because I know he saw himself with like the fucking light, the crackle skin in the bathroom, and like he was having like visions or whatever, and so was Father Max. So I don't know if this is something that was like slowly infecting them, or if it just like chose this specific day to do this. I don't. It was very unclear to me of the origins of the demon entering their world.
I don't think, if you look at like a traditional exorcism movie, or you look at like The Exorcist, the demon gets accepted into, like, it infiltrates a person, and it has, like, some of the movies it's like, you have to say yes to me, like you have to allow me in. Evil Dead, it's kind of through like an infection. I thought this movie was that the demon had a plan and was going to use whoever. I don't think it was about spreading an infection or anything like that. I think it was just the demon was infecting the world around them and was doing everything to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think because there's a quote in there when they're like, oh, something like, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Like, you fucking called our names this many times. Did you expect nothing to happen?
Yeah.
But then, the plan was to infect the world. Mm-hmm. Like, not just their world, the entire world.
Right.
So I guess maybe they just saw an in and went for it and, exploited these people's, like, issues with each other and things that meant something to them to get a reaction, to get more people to watch the feed, to infect as many people as possible.
Well, I think it was that the demon, yes, they call the names all the time, and they do this, and it gets the demon's attention. And then the demon's like, you know what this might be good for? My grand plan of destroying everything. So instead of like some of which, the Exorcism like TV show explored more of that, where it goes beyond Reagan and into like the world that the demons have a plan. I think that was that more of that vibe versus something that is, the demon traps a person and it affects a family. So I didn't mind that there wasn't like one demon origin story. I think I was focusing more on this is part of the end game. Mm-hmm. For demons.
Yeah, I mean, I guess story-wise, I would have appreciated if there was some clarity as to how it started.
Well, I think that I think it's around and find out. Like when they said you mess with people, 2 points. They keep on faking all these demon possessions and using these names for clout. Well, they invited it in themselves.
Yeah, even unintentionally, they weren't thinking about it. That was an invitation still. Yeah.
And then there was, it goes back to, they show these flashbacks of Max and Drew when they were kids in Catholic school.
Yes.
And they inherently, accidentally murdered their abusive nun teacher.
Yeah, that was so interesting for me to see because I think the first scene of the flashback, they're kneeling on the bottle caps, right? Mm-hmm. Was that the first one? And I kept thinking about my mom because she went to Catholic school and she was kind of like the rebel, but she didn't mean to be. She was just curious. So I remember she told me there was one time where a nun was taking a shower, and she like opened the shower curtain because she needed to see if their habits were real or like if they had hair under the habits, and she got punished for that, and she got punished for speaking up in class, so she had to kneel on dry beans. And she said it was very traumatic with her, and obviously that's why she's not religious today. But I kept seeing the parallels of like the flashbacks of seeing all this kind of like religious trauma on Max coming up to the surface with this. Like they know how to get him with that, like kind of pushing him in the...
It also seemed like the voice from the teacher was also the voice that was coming out of Lane. So I'm like, I wonder if this demon has a history with them that goes back all the way to this like was this nun in some way possessed, so she was like torturing them, or was it using this trauma from his past to infect his brain?
Yeah, because the first apparition was of the nun, right? So he keeps seeing that. So it's like this whole movie is just religious trauma. I mean, it's like
it's trauma in general. It's he killed someone.
Right.
Even if he did it as a kid and he did it because he was trying to defend his friend from the trauma that they were currently being inflicted, it stayed with him. He talks about it later on, about like when he has his humanity moment.
Right.
Of like, you know, I'm this way because I had to do this and I had to protect and all that stuff. So and like that whole thing of like nuns making you lean on beans, on rice, even
like
the nun in the shower thing, I was like, where have I heard that? I feel like it's in a movie.
Probably.
A lot of kids are real curious.
The best of them.
But the I don't know. I think it was like the way that the nun was used, and then he becomes a demonologist. I think it's the trauma. I think it's that the demon latched on to trauma, where they say, you know, when we talk about trauma, it's like, you know, those are just your demons.
Yeah.
Those are the things that plague you. So it just became literal.
Yeah. And you know, demons like to get under your skin. But no, in this movie, it's like she's trying to play on him. And I think the game was, she said, the audience, because the demon knows the audience is watching, and they play on that. And it's like, okay, like, was it the like was later, but it's like, oh, what does he need to do? Otherwise I'm going to kill Lane. And the audience basically was like,
get naked. But yeah, so you have this like that aspect of the live stream, which then I thought it was kind of weird when it's like the hokey pokey. And I was like,
I wrote
that took me out of it so fast. I was like,
the note that I wrote was hottest hokey pokey I've ever seen.
I mean, I think it got heightened, but it was weird in the beginning. And I was like, damn, I mean, I've touched a parcan before and I've never had 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah, no, that's not how those lights are hot as fuck. You gotta wear gloves when you use them, but they're not gonna fry all your flesh off.
Right. It's not gonna make you look like you went through a microwave.
No. And that was a very extended scene. I feel like that was so long, but that was also the memory, like the flashback scene, right?
Yeah.
Where they're doing the flashbacks.
It was back and forth.
But yeah, and he's stepping on the glass, and there's just this...
I wish they'd just done the glass and left out the burns. The burns threw it for me.
Jesus.
I think that was the point.
Jesus. I know. That's what I was like, is it a little on the... I was
on the
nose?
Say,
like, on the nail.
But like, for the parts that brought me into it with the effects choices that they made, when she's first possessed and she goes from like saying the lines to being like this, and the steam comes off her, I was like, oh, that's pretty. Instead of other possession movies where it's like, oh, it burns. But for her, it's just steam. And I was like, ooh, subtle. I like it. Because exorcism movies are not normally subtle. That's not the vibe. But that one I thought was great. And then they went from that to her makeup to burning a dude alive. Like, it was like,
yes,
boop. So
I CGI.
I thought he was cool. And when he put his face on his niece's leg, and then it peeled off, and then
there's the silence. Yes, and she was just like,
oh my god! And it's just and then he died. But like that, I was like, ooh, yes,
I love that.
So well done.
It's just so interesting seeing the juxtaposition between like that CGI versus that practical effect.
You know, and the director is on record saying, like, he's like, you know, obviously with the constraints they had, he did as much practical as he possibly could.
And I thought it was great.
I think the choices that he made to go with, because obviously not everything is going to be able to be done there's certain things that you have to have those visual effects for, because it's just it can't exist in reality in the same way that like an exorcism like needs the thing that we're expecting to see. But some of the gore and the grossness is done by practical, because that's why you're like, oh, that's gnarly.
Well, you know, and the devil at the end, like, that's all practical for the most part, and it looks really cool.
You look
Really cool.
You look great.
I mean, you could tell the difference between when they're using practical and not. But
Yeah.
and I give it a pass. Like on that budget too, on that scale, it's like you know, it is what it is. CGI is what it is. But when they did use practical, I thought they used it very well.
Yeah, like I loved, like, it almost felt like when like the, you know, gremlins like come out of their like little like they hatch.
Yeah.
Like it's like when like he's like rising out of like, you know, the dead effects pyrotechnic
cool.
guy's body, and it's like you can just see like the head coming out of like the old head.
That was
and
really cool.
It was really well done.
I actually think that it was a direct nod, at least what I saw, it's a direct nod to werewolf transformations, because they focus on like the joints, which that's something in the 80s. Werewolf transformations were like the height of practical effects, with the bladders, with the skin rips, and having like a joint go from a human looking to being more of that like goat-like, wolf-like arch.
Hind, like,
Yeah, a
the
hind
hind
quarter.
leg.
Well, you know,
that
like,
was there.
everyone ever is going to homage, you know, Rick Baker's version of American Werewolf in
As
London,
they should.
but he spent how many years perfecting that? Like, obviously, that's why it's the height of.
It's a template.
He is the pinnacle, but I did think it was interesting to have a demon transformation that was such an that was an homage to a werewolf transformation versus like, I don't know, there's other ways to just like become a demon, but it was that the demon came out of this corpse in that way, and I loved
I thought it
the
was cool.
layered skin rips were gorgeous, where it's like, because it was like the first level and then the second, and you could see it happening. I mean, if you're gonna do a transformation, of course you're gonna go for the Rick Baker one. That is the transformation.
No, it's interesting to see it in that context. I think that's really cool.
Some of the other things that they did that were like effects wise that really put you in that same as the like the skin pulling down, the cloth pull from the mouth.
Yes,
That was really well
that
done.
was great. So was the blood, like
The black,
spewing out,
which
like,
I know he said
or the black, yeah,
the blackness, the black vomit, which we talked
Yeah.
about not liking in Late Night with the Devil, but we
See,
like it in this.
well,
Sorry, go on.
Let me tell you guys why you love it in this movie. The director and the actress that's one solid like 15-minute take of like her just putting it in her mouth, and he's like, okay, and like they didn't cut, and they were just like, now put more in, and then like drool some out, and then like take 5 deep breaths, okay, do it again, and like they just went, and like they're like, she just kept looking worse and worse and worse.
Good
And,
for
like,
her,
the
man.
producers were on set, and they're like, should we jump in and like tell him to cut, because like she was fine, he was fine,
Right.
like everybody
She
was
was just giving
but
it
they
her
were
all.
and he said that he used almost every frame of that take that he did.
Wow,
one way or
good
another.
for her, man.
Yeah, so
You
that's
really
why it's
fell for her.
effective.
Well, and it's a good relationship. They had an agreement. They were in a place. There were obviously people on set to make sure that it was done safely, like that we're caring about this. But they worked together to get the shot, and I think that that's a really good, like, that's a consensual, like, really happy. We're gonna make this, and it worked. It was great. It looked disgusting. I think one of the other things that I like that seem more like classic horror, like it's gonna happen. I love the pull under the bathroom stall. That shot. So many horror movies have. It's the PO. You're looking right at the person, and they get
like wreck. You always think of wreck.
Yes,
Like
yes, the wreck.
I thought about that, but then I thought, oh, he actually escaped. Like that was like
normally you never see them again. But I liked some of the choices that they made. Felt like, oh, it worked, instead of it being like they didn't rip it. It was just like, oh, I like that this person appreciates horror.
Yep.
That's what I felt with a lot of the choices.
I mean, that's what they say. If something doesn't land, it's like a bad ripoff. If it works, it's a great homage.
Yeah.
It's true. It's so true.
But then his death was kind of crazy. I thought.
Oh yeah, you think he's gonna live because
Who?
you thought he died,
Chris.
but then it was a concussion or something,
sound
and then
guy.
he's
Yeah.
awake again.
He had so many like, oh,
Yeah,
poor
poor-
guy.
poor
Oh, he's back.
Chris.
Oh,
Poor Chris.
But the we talked about a little bit earlier, like about how like the demons are like your trauma or your inner demons, and then for this one, it was literally he had a demon that only he could see that caused him to unalive himself, was because of this thing that no one else could see, but he saw it, and it was so real to him.
Which felt very like Hellraiser 2 to me. I don't know if you guys have seen that with like the bugs.
Yeah.
And they just like gives him the razor and
Yes.
the rest
Oh
is
God,
history.
there's like a couple things I can think of where it's like they're trying to get something out of their skin,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's not there.
That stuff is real. Like that's
But it was well done, and you're like, no, poor, oh my God, Chris, like he's the friend that he's the Gus of cleansing hour. But he's, you know, that was a fun. I think that the deaths were fun, except for fucking Riley, man.
okay.
Her character didn't make sense to me. I'm gonna be honest.
She was fodder.
She was
Yeah.
exactly. She was there because at first you think she's going to be that stereotypical. I'm just here because I need to like a job or whatever.
It
But
looks
then
good on
like,
my college
and then
courses.
convenient enough, she's like, "Oh, I studied ancient languages."
Oh,
In prep
That's
school,
what it
is.
that when I
In
saw
prep
that, I was like, and then she had there's an app for that, and I was like,
Oh, I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be a joke or if that's like no. She
She literally pulled up an app.
Yeah.
And so wait, I'm sorry. She doesn't want to be here. She doesn't give a shit. All of a sudden, she's super fucking invested. And then the second later, fuck this, I'm out.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that character was developed.
It was unnatural,
She
yeah.
was fodder. She was
Right.
there
Yeah.
to serve. She was there to mock him, and then she was there to. She was just there to make fun of young people. Like, I don't know. I don't understand.
She was the voice of the millennial. Or
Oh,
wait,
was
are
she?
we millennials? She was the voice. Wait, who
Gen
are we?
Z.
I don't know who we are.
No, but I didn't
Who
think that.
are
I don't know. I just don't think every other character had a purpose. I don't think she had a point.
No, she was a kill count.
Right.
Like that's it. Like
But then we should have killed her first. Kept Tommy.
Exactly.
Because even Tommy had more of a relationship and more. He made more
sweet.
sense in the movie than her. I kind of wish she'd been the first to go.
To
So
me.
the demon is making them reveal things, and it's
Yes,
like the demon
yes.
is using all of its stuff, being like, I will kill this person if you don't reveal this, if you don't reveal your hypocrisy. So, which kind of what made me believe the whole like, all right, well, this happened because they were around, and the demon's like,
Right.
I'm really annoyed with all this, so I'm gonna put an end to it.
I'm gonna
Right.
expose you.
Yeah.
And-
And so you lied about your merch. You lied about you being a priest. You lied about your relationship with each other. Your whole
Yeah.
relationship is a lie.
And then like I think like what we said earlier was Max's first, I guess, test was that he has to get naked or whatever. And they said, Drew's like, don't worry, we're gonna cover you. But the demon's like, F that. And then he's exposed, like literally exposed. Like you could be metaphorical with that.
You know, he really did put in the effort to become a priest, whether he finished or not. And like, so I think that he does have some power over the demon in a real, quote unquote real way of this movie. Which is funny that he keeps refuting it after, he's been broken down because that's why he's naked. It takes away his power. And then he has to admit that, he's getting his prayer cloths from China. And then when it comes down to like actually vanquishing the demon, he's just like, I can't do it. Well,
Yeah. Well, and he's more willing to give up things that don't affect him, but he'd probably be willing to kill Lane. Like, I kind of got that vibe where he was like, I don't think her safety and her protection were really, especially after she bit his fingers off. Like,
Yeah.
he was
Well,
kind of
yeah,
like, I
at
don't
that
give a
point
shit
he's
about
like,
you.
fuck you.
Whereas Drew is very, very focused on saving her no matter the cost, including not listening to her, that there is something bigger and he doesn't care. He is not willing to sacrifice her to save whatever big picture problem is. And Max is not willing to sacrifice his fame for another person or for his best friend's fiance or his former lover.
Which is discovered. It's,
Right.
ooh.
Because the demon is not only exposing him by trying to take away his fame, take away his money, and then he goes after to try to take away his friend.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you've been lying to him the whole time, and I'm taking away everything from you.
yeah.
Was it before or after? Because there was that
the
other
end.
revelation where he's like, oh, they dated before you ever dated, and it was this whole thing. And then he kept video footage of them, having sex or whatever.
Which I really kind of wish they cut to to Desiree.
At the bar?
At the bar, because being like,
Actually,
he bought
yeah.
these sex tapes of people, and I
That
was
would be
like,
cool. She's like, what?
where she was like, and her friends looking at her like,
Yeah.
but like maybe they filmed it and it didn't make the final cut. But I was like, that's like what a scene I kind of expect to see. Be like, girl, there's a sex tape, but
No, I don't.
which we all saw earlier, but you didn't.
No, I loved that, and I love that. I forgot if this was before or after, but then there was the moment where she spews out the coin, and he's like, and he wasn't even, and he doesn't even think twice.
No, that's the prayer cloth.
The prayer cloth.
She's talking about Drew.
Drew. Sorry, I switched back to Drew. She spits out the coin, and it's just like, I've been stealing money from you, taking 30%, no, 60, no, 70%.
Yeah.
And he's so quick, like he doesn't even think twice about admitting that.
It's the fingers.
And
she spits out the fingers and then the coin.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
so there's a lot of
willing
secrets
to give up anything to save his person, and and then because there is a bigger picture, there's a reason that all this is happening, and Max just thinks it's all about him. Even in the end, he's like, this is just about me because I killed a nun.
Right.
Like, this is all about me because I murdered someone as a kid and I'm a fraud. But I'm a fraud for a good reason.
Because religion, trauma, was horrible to me. They were awful. She was hurting my friend, and that's what brought him to that position, which, I think a lot of people would actually defend. And I know people think I get it.
But I felt like mixed bag on it. Like, you see him as a kid. Of course, I feel bad for the kid version of him, but I don't feel bad for all the things he's done using that as an excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
But, in the end, when, they've gotten Lane back and they think it's all over, it's wrapped up, and then...
Because they worked together to kill the demon.
Yeah, they conquered it.
No matter how the demon tried to tear him apart. Brotherhood. I loved, like we talked earlier about the possession and the makeup and the looks and the different, the cooks, I think, did the best job of it, to be honest, with the, all three of them staring slack-jawed. I like the slack-jawed aspect.
Yeah.
Instead of it being, like, super malicious, that someone is in control and they're making them do this, and they're just like...
Right.
And then they go and they commit these like horrendous crimes and they murder everyone. So yeah, I know that maybe it was like a big thing, but from what I watched, it was very satisfying to me because I'm looking at this whole thing like there is an end game, and that was the end game, and I got to see the end game. The only part that I thought was like a little too nail on the head was I love the little kid going in and killing the president. I was like, great. I didn't need it to pan up on the Oval Office thing. I liked it just being in the bottom. I was like, I don't, sometimes they explain a little much. I was like, that was too much for me. But thankfully, I thought it was like, if that's the final shot, I would have been really upset. But it wasn't. It kept going. But I was like, that's the only thing where I was like, maybe I didn't need that. But everything else I loved. I loved the gore of killing someone on the tire, even though we didn't see it, but I can imagine his jaw being ripped off.
Yeah, they didn't show all that final gore stuff.
Oh, but they did do the callback to burning someone's face, like on the frying pan, on the griddle. So all of those kills I thought were a ton of fun. I really loved them. And then even they extended it into the credits with like, the world is ending, and it kind of gave me like end of zombie movie vibes where they're like, this virus is spreading,
it's like
and they
the
just
start of a
I mean, I liked all of it. I think something that drove me nuts is like, I didn't need the title cards of like, I understand from watching it that these are all over the world, that people are tuning in. And I thought, I'm just like, are we watching a zombie movie or are we watching,
right?
But, so like basically, I don't know if we need this for the audience, but so when he rises out of, the pyrotechnic guy's body, he's like, I wasn't Amon, I was the motherfucking devil.
I'm the motherfucking devil.
He's like, but we got the name from the book. He's like, I wrote the book.
I love that. He's like,
it's my book. Yeah, it's my book. And it's like, well, yeah, you did. It's just the devil's.
It was silly, but I thought that the end was really fun. I think it would be interesting to see where it went from this, because it feels like I was like, okay, we finished this like really contained small movie. Are we gonna go to like 28 days later or something?
Yeah, and I liked watching this after we saw Late Night at the Devil, because you see a lot of like similar, the electricity, like the demons coming through the electronics, and transmission. All
three of the movies we've watched so far have all ended with like, the ghost is in the machine. And ghost so
the devil is using our creation to take, or a demon, but they are using our creation to take us down. We created technology. We've done so many things as a society to replace the lore and to explain away demons. Like people used to say that like an eclipse happened because a demon stole the sun. Like it's things like that. But we've now used technology and science to do away with all that. None of it's real. And now the demons are using our technology against us.
Skynet is real. Skynet are demons.
Oh my god.
And on
that note.
But we still have one more movie in this broadcast horror genre that we're going to cover. If you can think of more broadcast horror things that fit under, since we are making this its own, the subset of found footage is broadcast horror. Or the sister of found footage is broadcast horror. So if there's more movies that you can think of that are going to fit into this, because you might even be guessing the next one we're going to feature, that we're going to highlight. But please leave it in the comments, because
I'm excited to learn more.
I want to watch. I like broadcast because I love found footage, but I feel like I've seen almost all of it. So give me more things to watch.
So that was The Cleansing Hour on Shudder. It's a good watch. I do recommend it. It's I want to know your opinions, because we all have different opinions. I think we're all varying on there, but I think at the end of the day, it was a fun watch. It was something worth watching, I think.
Yeah. So until next time, this has been Pillow Fright, and may God bless you and the devil miss you.
Bye.